Getting constructive feedback can be incredibly useful, but if you're not used to it, it can be a really bumpy ride. Welcome back to another episode of Mindset Monday. That's right, it's back and hopefully more useful than ever before. No guarantees. This week we're going to look at the benefits of feedback and how to get it. And next week, I'll show you some of the less useful forms of feedback in a comment review. Brace yourselves. Self-reflection is a great way to grow as a person. It allows you to process and evaluate experiences so that you can see what you're good at and maybe what you're not so good at. In an ideal world full of enlightened people, that's all we'd ever need. But of course, that enlightened world is just make-believe, so we all need a little bit of help to get the most growth from any experience. You've probably heard the old trope that nobody really listens, they just wait for their turn to speak. And I believe this to be true with an awful lot of people. I regularly sit in coffee shops with my AirPods in, but no music or podcasts playing, mostly so nobody talks to me. And I observe and hear two people sat together in close quarters, having two completely independent monologues, talking about completely different things. But if you ask them, they would tell you they were deep in conversation. So when someone offers you feedback, the most important thing to do is to stop and listen. And really listen, not just hear and think about how you're going to respond. The first time I realized the importance and usefulness of this in a professional setting really was when I was doing my command training, just before being released as a captain. After landing, the training captain started the post-flight review process, where we talk about everything that went well and everything that could have been better, and we discuss any important items from the flight. Now, I forget the exact points he brought up, but I do remember being sat there explaining myself, trying to justify decisions, and trying to talk my way out of any small errors that I might have made. I was handed a sort of eureka moment when the training captain stopped and he just said, "There's no point in us doing this if you are going to get defensive and try and justify everything that went wrong. Sit there, listen to what I have to offer you and absorb it, and it will make you a better person." And ultimately, because I was offering up responses, I wasn't truly listening. And without actually listening to what the advice and feedback was, there was no way I was going to be able to reflect on the information at a later date. Listening is vital, but of course the feedback is wasted if you don't reflect and act on it. To effectively benefit from feedback, you do have to engage a bit of the grey matter from time to time. Using a little bit of cognitive evaluation will definitely clarify whether that feedback was useful or whether it was just nonsense that someone decided to tell you for the sake of telling you. Pilots refer to the latter as OIC flying, where you simply sit there and someone gives you feedback and you go, "Oh, I see. Great, I'm never doing that again." Or, "Oh, I see, thank you, that's really useful. What you've just told me is dangerous and I would never even consider doing it. You are a fool." Every pilot has had an OIC moment. And you probably get that in other industries as well. If you do, let me know in the comments below so I know it's not just aviation where sometimes you're taught to suck eggs. Now, if it is good advice, good, valuable advice, human nature means you'll probably take it on board. Most of us want to, despite protestation. Most of us want to be the best that we can be in our jobs. No one wants to go to work and sort of half-arse it and only deliver 50%. Most people want to be the best that they can be in their role at any given time. So no matter what the feedback is, if you are taking it on board, try and catch yourself making that mistake and try and think back to the important feedback that you had and try and get it correct. Try and do it the right way, the way that you've been told is a better way of doing things. Lastly, and fairly importantly, getting good, useful, honest feedback can be a challenge. You know, everybody has an opinion. Everyone will share an off-the-cuff remark and slate you if you embarrass yourself. But getting good, quality, honest feedback can be a challenge. So for me, it really pays dividends if you ask for it in advance, whether you're starting a new project, as a pilot starting a new flight or a new trip, or you're just working in close quarters with someone new. It's great if you let them know that you're going to ask for some feedback later on, because it empowers them to observe you and not feel like they're snooping on you. It empowers them to give you perhaps some negative comments when they know that you want them if they're valid. Empowering your colleagues to tell you you are terrible at your job is the only way to get honest feedback. On every flight, I always tell the first officer, just because I am captain, it doesn't mean I'm good at my job. If you see anything that I'm doing that's incorrect, let me know. I gotta remember, I've gotta be better at what I do. And hopefully that empowers even the most junior first officer to turn to the captain and say, "Hey, you're not doing this quite right." And I will learn, and we'll all be better if we take advice from even the most junior person in the company. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear your feedback on how you think the channel is developing. If you do have any comments, anything you'd like to see on the channel, again, put it in the comments or send me an email, careerendingopportunities@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you just as quickly as I can. So thanks for stopping by. If you've got this far through and you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. A like and a comment would be appreciated as well, especially if you do have some feedback, be it positive or negative. Generally constructive would be appreciated over just sheer negativity. I'll leave it up to you. I'll see you again later in the week. Bye bye.